Oh, oh, my bad. I didn't see you guys there. I was just waking up from the absolute snooze fest the Mexican Grand Prix was. But anyway, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Three Wide Podcast. Uh, as you guys could already tell, if you can't tell, but from beforehand, we had the Mexican Grand Prix today, or the Mexican Grand Sleep, because that's all I wanted to do this race, and I did for a little bit because I just couldn't be asked to watch that absolute snooze fest. Although it was a very, very tactical and strategical race, there was barely any overtaking battles. I feel like in the main overtaking battles and the main battles on track happened deeper down the field with like the likes of Bottas and like Ricardo in the P11, P10 area, but nothing really going for the top teams early on. Ferrari, we thought maybe they'd contend. We had all the top three teams, top six drivers, in 1 to 6, respectfully, and they turned down their engines because they've experienced a lot of wear on their turbocharger. So they were absolutely nowhere near the race pace required to compete for the race. But anyway, let's just break this race down of all the high points in it, because there's a lot of low points, and if I miss some high points, it's probably because I was taking a little bit of a nap. But Max won by a landslide. I think he won by 15 seconds at the end of the race. But before the race, there's a stat brought up that there's been a safety car in like the last 6 Mexican Grand Prix, which there was a virtual safety car at this Mexican Grand Prix that lasted for like 15 seconds because of Alonso's stricken Alpine. But yeah, that kind of jinxed the race, I feel like, in a way, to just make it the most boring race in the world, which I feel like it was. But couple interesting strategic starts to the race. We had both Red Bulls start on the softs and both Mercedes start on the mediums. Max got away well, holding P1 down to turn 1. Lewis got up to P2, Checo into P3. And yeah, Hamilton was staying around like 1.5 seconds behind Max on medium tires compared to Max's soft compound tires early on in the race. Stayed but like 1.5 seconds behind the first like 15 laps. I feel like he was he was challenging Max and really using the extended life of the medium compound tires that he had. And then on around the lap, I think lap 29, Lewis came to box for hard compound tires, which absolutely killed his race. I didn't understand the decision at the time because we saw Max start to take his mediums a long, long way. And Lewis was told laps before that he was able to go longer than expected on the mediums. But I think because of the continued pace shown by Perez, Mercedes kind of overreacted to him doing so well through traffic, and they kind of boxed Lewis to get him in front of Perez. And it was on lap 29 out of 71. There's no way you're going 45 laps or 50 laps-ish on soft compound tires. So they overreacted and boxed both George and Lewis onto hards, which killed their race because the mediums are so much better. And at first, Lewis and George were quite optimistic about the hards, but as the race went on, they just saw the gap to Red Bull disappear, or at least Lewis and George both saw the gaps to Verstappen and Perez absolutely disappear in P1 and P3. And you just wonder, what if Mercedes stayed on the mediums and went to the softs? I think it could have been a completely different race because they were very, very fast. This is the fastest Mercedes car we've seen this year, in my opinion. Lewis was keeping 1.5 seconds between him and Max the whole entire opening stint of the race, right? Opening like 15 seconds. Lewis was there in striking distance, right? On pretty conservative first stint pace, right? Just consistent pace. I think if you sacrificed George onto the hards early to make him go long and provide like that support for Lewis, I would have understood that. But to both put them onto hards is a very, very rare Mercedes strategical fuck up, in my opinion. I just didn't understand the move, and I still don't. So let me know in the comments or online on social media what you guys think. Do you think Mercedes were right in pitting both their drivers for hards as early in the race as they did? Maybe they didn't know how long the mediums would go, but Lewis was on the radio saying, "I like the mediums are well. Like I like these tires a lot. Like I could keep going." And I think Peter Bonington, Lewis's race engineer, came on the radio saying we could go +6 laps plus our target, further than our target pit stop lap. So they could go, I don't know, maybe it's a lap, I don't know, 50 on mediums. The Pirelli said they could do 50 laps medium tires, but who knows, man. If you shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? So you never know what Mercedes could have actually achieved if they just stuck to their original strategy. But because of the pace of Perez, Mercedes overreacted and, pitted for hards, which killed their race. Danny Rick, very, very, very good drive from him. Bit iffy in the, bit like non-existent, not non-existent, but a bit like quiet in the first couple stints. But then the race started to pick up, and then Danny shunted Yuki Tsunoda into the bin, which made, or he kind of just drove into Yuki Tsunoda, which made him retire the car. Got a lot of side pod damage and a suspension problem because Yuki tried to pit. They tried to take off the front wing, and that shit was not coming off. So, yeah, that was a bit unlucky for Yuki, but they gave Daniel Ricciardo a 10-second penalty, and then he put on soft compound tires and fucking drove like crazy. He passed, I think, 4 cars, very, very Daniel Ricciardo of old-esque. And I was saying in the group chat when he got that penalty, oh, there goes his speed in Formula 1. But then he drove like a madman, reminding me of the Danny of old, and finished in P7 on track, and it was 10 seconds plus Ocon in P8. So he finished P7 even with his penalty, which was really, really cool. So big drive from Daniel Ricciardo, and I think he actually earned driver of the day. Again, the Ferraris were absolutely non-existent because of their engine problems. So that was a bit annoying because I thought maybe they could hold up the Red Bulls in the pit stop phases and help the Mercedes out a little bit. But yeah, that was basically it. Max finished with a 15-second gap to Lewis. Lewis came in P2, around 3 seconds ahead of Perez in P3. Completely identical to last Mexican Grand Prix. There was no real overtaking. It was kind of a boring race, if I'm being completely honest. But at the end of the race, on Alonso, this is a bit controversial, but Alonso's made some fucking bookie-ass comments about Lewis Hamilton. I think he's just still salty about 2007. But anyway, he said this past weekend that Max's 2 titles are more impressive than Lewis's 7. That's insane. Lewis Hamilton had to fight his teammate like through blood, sweat, and tears the whole entire year to earn that title. And then the year out, Nico won another one as well. And then the other couple titles, maybe, pretty easy for him. But this title that Max had was very, very easy. Bro had to fight absolutely nobody to win. The Ferraris dropped off like crazy, and the Mercedes did not have a good car. So to say 7 titles, Max's 2 titles are much more impressive than Lewis's 7 is crazy. And for that reason, I think Alonso deserved to DNF from this race. I know it sounds terrible, but I'm saying it. It's my hot take. For that comment alone, Alonso deserved to DNF because that just shows like complete arrogance and ignorance and hatred towards Lewis Hamilton. Lewis's tweet to that, to what Alonso said was really, really cool. How it was like him patting Alonso when Lewis came P1, Alonso in P3, or I think whatever, like something like that. Basically telling Alonso to simmer down, I'm the big dog, which I really, really back. But yeah, Alonso lost his fucking head, and I lost a lot of respect for him for that comment, but he deserved that DNF. He's a great driver, but deserved that DNF off for that comment. But yeah, and also Lewis was booed in the post-race interview, I think because of his Alonso comments, something like that. And then Checo was waving his finger to the fans, telling him to not boo Hamilton, which is really, really cool. And Checo has said in the past that his family is really, really big Lewis Hamilton fans. So that was really nice to see. 2 indirect rivals, I think you could call them, getting along quite well. But yeah, an overall really, really boring race. Not much to report on except for Max fucking winning by almost a quarter of a lap. Mercedes looking fast, but a very, very rare Mercedes blunder strategically wise. and we might see the first Mercedes winless season since 2011, I believe, which is over a decade, which is pretty crazy. In my opinion, their last chance to win a race, a Grand Prix, is in Brazil in 2 weeks' time, I believe. So we'll see if that could get done. Straight line speed is really, really big at that track, and we know how quick that Red Bull is. So we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the race, because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of didn't. It was kind of a letdown, especially how good Austin was last weekend. Let me know your thoughts on the race and your thoughts on the overtakes that happened, even though there are probably 2 of them. But yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'll be streaming on Wednesday if you guys want to come join that at around 7:30. But yeah, take care and peace, everyone. Have a good day.